All right, there is a, a speech given by Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1991. And it's a speech by Lubavitcher Rebbe in this week's Torah portion, Balak. And by the Rebbe, it was a fast day on Shabbat. A fast day fell on Shabbat. When fast days fall on Shabbat, you don't fast. You push it off to the day afterwards. Except for Yom Kippur. Except for Yom Kippur. And if Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat, you fast. So the fast of Yud Zayin Tammuz fell on Shabbat. Now, Yud Zayin Tammuz was the beginning of the actual destruction of the second temple. Some say also according to the first temple. It was the day when the walls of the temple were broken through. The second temple was by the Romans, and the first temple was by Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonians. So it was a terrible tragedy. The first temple, when it was destroyed, so the Jews were taken into exile, into Babylon. All the Jews. There was left behind a small number of Jews there was always Jews in Israel, but a small number of Jews remained there after the first temple. 70 years later, they all came back to Israel, and they built the second temple. 70 years later, but then when the Romans destroyed the temple, which was 420 years after it was rebuilt, so to this very day we're in exile until the Moshiach comes and builds the third temple. So, I mean, it's needless to say that there's been tremendous the tragedies, one after the other, a whole string of tragedies which have happened in the last 2,000 years, which basically the Jews brought upon themselves because they didn't go according to God's very high expectations of the Jewish people. So here we are. Now we have the Lubavitcher Rebbe. In every generation, there's been great leaders, but the Lubavitcher Rebbe, especially the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he started this idea that Mashiach is going to come any second. Any second. As soon as Jews do tshuva, immediately Mashiach is going to come. The Maimonides said that. The Talmud says it. But the Rebbe said that it's imminent. Any second it's supposed to happen. I mean, it's driving us crazy when it's supposed to happen. But anyway, it's supposed to happen. Okay, so here's another sign. We got all these signs. Mashiach is going to come. One of the signs. One of the signs is that when the 17th day of Tammuz, which is the day when this whole business began, when in fact, that the walls were actually breached of Jerusalem, if that falls on Shabbat, we don't fast. So it's a sign that it's possible to push away this tragedy. Now, it's possible to push away the tragedy, and to the degree that maybe it's possible that it can be eliminated totally. And that's what the prophecy, where is it in Sfanya? I forgot. It says that all these holidays will be transformed into days of joy and festivities. These fast days, all these fast days will be transformed into from tragedy until joy, until happiness. Okay, so the special thing about this Shabbat, if it falls the 17th day of Tammuz, we can explain it in two ways. Just let me look at this. Yeah. Okay. We can explain it in two ways. Number one, but Pasha simply, since that the day of Shabbat it's forbidden to fast, so therefore, how much more so? Tiny is a fast which is connected to things which are not good. Yomim shekol Yisrael mitani b'hem, because of the tzorot b'hem. Sometimes people can just say, I accept on myself a fast. Tomorrow I'm going to declare a fast. It says you're supposed to, you want to fast, you're supposed to do it for God. It says you're supposed to declare a fast the day before. In mincha prayer, you're supposed to say, tomorrow I'm going to fast. You can just do it for, to improve your relationship to God, or whether it's to stop, you're getting too interested in eating. But here is a fast which is only because of something bad. We're fasting because the temple was destroyed. So it says in Jewish if one of these fasts that we fast because of one of the tragedies that occurred to the Jewish people, and it occurs on Shabbat, so therefore, ein etzevbo, you're not supposed to be sad on Shabbat. The Yeterim is even more. Sheyom Shabbat, the day of Shabbat, is the day of joy. Like it says, B'yom Simchatrem, these are the Shabbatot. And pleasure. And this is Nidchit Hatainid Mipanei HaShabbat, the Yom Rishon Shel Achrei Shabbat. So if so, when one of these fast days falls, Tisha B'Av or whatever, it falls on Shabbat, then you push the fast off. You don't fast on that day. You fast the next day. That's one reason. You're not supposed to feel bad on Shabbat. Not supposed to bring bad news on Shabbat. Not supposed to feel miserable. And deeper, we can say another thing. Pushing away the fast before the day of Shabbat. This is not just pushing it away, but it's showing that the fast day can be pushed off. This gives us power that you can negate the fast totally. So this year, the fast of the 17th day of Tammuz, it occurs 1 week from today. Right? Today is the 10th day of Tammuz. As 1 week from today, next Sunday is going to be a fast day. The fast starts only in the morning, from sunrise. I don't know, that's 4 in the morning, whatever it is by you, something like that. 5 in the morning. Like we find in Tisha B'Av, on Tisha B'Av that falls to be on Shabbat, as it's pushed off to after Shabbat. V'omer Rebbe, and Rebbe says, Hoil v'nidche yidche. Rebbe in the Talmud says, since the fast has been pushed off, Tisha B'Av is the day the temple was destroyed. Both temples were destroyed. So since the fast was pushed off, so let it be pushed off totally. In other words, let us the third temple be rebuilt, and we'll have no reason to fast. Allah much more so in the 7th day of Tammuz. She'enu chamor. It is not as severe as the Tisha B'Av. Shehari me'ikar adin. The law is she'en gezeirat Malchut ve'en shalom rotzo mitanim rotzo en mitanim. It says that if you want to, it says the Yud Zayin Tammuz, there's one opinion that if you want to fast, you can fast. If you don't want to, you don't. That's not accepted, but nevertheless, it's not as severe as Tisha B'Av. Milvad, except for Tisha B'Av. It says the Tisha B'Av, you have no choice. You have to fast on Tisha B'Av. All these fasts, except for Yom Kippur, are from the rabbis. So it says especially that all the other fasts, it's optional. It's optional. Nowadays, it's basically not optional, but according to one opinion, that's optional, which is not the case Tisha B'Av, because it says twice, the Huch B'Lo, because it says that there was double trouble on Tisha B'Av. Both temples were destroyed. On until the Techiyah should be Mota Mashiach. But nevertheless, it says that the fasts can be pushed off, even Tisha B'Av, until the days of the Mashiach. Like the Rambam says, call it Somot Elo, all these fasts are going to be negated. There won't be fasts anymore. The Yeterim, now we do have to fast, but in the future not. The Yeterim is even more. Kefisha Musaf, like it says, not only that, but these fasts are going to be holidays. There'll be days of rejoicing. Like it says, Shnei Amar, like it says, that's the first, in Zechariah, I'm sorry, not Sfania, in Zechariah. It says, so says God in Zechariah. Kol Hashem. So this is what the God of hosts says. The fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, that's this, the fast of the 4th month, that's this Tammuz, and the 5th month, that's Tisha B'Av, are going to be for the Jewish people, Sasan v'Simcha, joy and happiness, Moadim, and holidays. Ve'emet v'shalom ahavu, and truth and peace will be beloved in the whole entire world. The least number we can say, Shemayin says something like this, negating the bad things that are going to be, for instance, the fasts, and transforming them to joy. This will be, we get a taste of that on this coming Shabbat. Like I said, the Rebbe is talking about the Shabbat when he was speaking in 1991. But it doesn't make any difference. The fact that it happened is a sign that it can happen again. Not only that the fast was negated, but it has become it's transformed to the happiness of Shabbat. And even more, it says that when that does happen, that you were supposed to be happier on that Shabbat than a normal Shabbat. In a little bit different way, Hayachas, the Yom HaTainit, the Yom HaShabbat, the connection between the fast of a regular fast day and the day of Shabbat is in two ways. Number one, shlilat inyan bilti ratzui, that on Shabbat you should not have anything not good. In other words, doing away with the negative things. Shabbat does away with the negative things, or exactly even more, that the bad things not only are they negated, but they transform to be days that are happy. So you're happy that there was bad days, because that transforms them to something even higher. Yom Shabbat, when these bad days fall on Shabbat, even more you're happy that there was bad days. Why? Because they become transformed to something even higher than regular joy. Interestingly, it says that when Moshiach comes, that all of the holidays will be like nothing. All the holidays will still be there. Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot, they'll be there. But a holiday is a day when there's a revelation of God. And when Moshiach comes, eventually there'll be such a big revelation of God that we'll keep all the holidays, but we won't feel the joy of these holidays as being something special, because the joy will be constant. Except one thing. One second, let me put this back on. Except all those fasts which will transform from bad to good. Let me put this away somewhere. There we go. Oh, all the fasts which were transformed into be happy. Those holidays that came from the fast days, they will be. In other words, that will be even greater than the joy that we'll feel in the days of the Mashiach. Mashiach is going to bring an awareness of God. When a person feels an awareness of God, it means that a person feels happy. He feels healthy. He feels rich. He feels meaningful. He feels blessed. He feels important. Every human being will be happy just to be alive, happy to see other human beings. It says that happiness will, will outshine the happiness of the regular holidays, but it won't outshine the happiness of the fast days, which are transformed the holidays. Okay, now let's explain this. So here we're talking about something not only doing away with all the bad, but the bad being transformed to good. How this is going to be, we'll talk about. Yom HaTainit, the day of a fast day, externally, obviously, this is a bad day. Inui, it's suffering. Shu hepech ratzon ha'oneg, this is the opposite of desire and pleasure. Right? You get a little thirsty, you take a drink of water. Something wrong with that? Most natural thing in the world. Right? You're hungry, so you eat a sandwich. So you eat an apple. What's wrong with that? It's a natural thing. You eat an apple, you make a blessing on the apple, it makes you feel good. You feel satisfied, it's healthy. Right? It's a good thing, right? Not on a fast day. Not on a fast day. You want to have a drink of water? It's okay if you want to have a drink of water, but don't drink it. Don't drink that water. You want to eat an apple? No problem with that. If you want to eat an apple, no problem with wanting to eat an apple, but don't do it. Don't bring your desire into action. On fast days, you are not allowed to eat. You can want whatever you want. You want to eat steak, anything you want, you can desire, but don't do it. That's the problem. And that's a bad feeling. That's a bad feeling. I can't do what I want. What's the big deal? Let me just take a little drink of water. What's the problem? Right? Such a big sin. Yes, it is. On a fast day, you're not allowed to do it. The days of a fast day are days which are the opposite of filling your own will and getting pleasure. But in the inside, really what's going on is good. Kalashan, like it says, Yom Ratzon Hashem. It's a day of pleasant day to God. Right? In a regular day, if you want to drink a cup of water, that's not serving God, especially. It's doing what you want to. But here on a fast day, if you don't drink a cup of water, then you're doing what God wants. maybe you are uncomfortable externally, but the fact that you know you're doing what God wants, this gives you a certain inner satisfaction. In a deeper way regarding to the fourth fast, the fast of this fourth month, this fast coming up, which is Yud Zayin Tammuz next week. That's the first of the four fasts, which are talked about in Kabbalah, which in Zechariah over there. It says the fourth fast, the fifth fast, the seventh fast, that's Tzom Gedalia, and the 10th fast at the 10th day of Tevis, Tevis. All these four fasts, they are not good things, and they're attached to the destruction of the temple and exile. But internally, they're really good. Why are they good? Like it says, hinted at the Tzuma Revi, it says that the fourth fast, this fast in the fourth month, and Tammuz is the fourth month. This is on the 17th day of Tammuz, that the 17 is the numerical value of good. In fact, it's even the completion of good in the future redemption. When the future redemption comes, this day is going to be transformed to a happier day, happier than even the other holidays, happier than Simchat Torah. True joy, since the intention, the tachlit and the purpose of the destruction of the temple and the exile, Eino Elad is only Kedei Labo Le'ilui, a higher level of the Geula of the future redemption. And Mita Tishlem is Hainu Shagalo to Enyan Tzchitzoni. Exile is an external thing, but internally it is Geula, it is redemption. Redemption. I remember I listened once to a lecture with Manis Friedman, and he said that the people who joggers, very healthy thing to be a jogger, not to overdo it, but jog. He said, I would like to be a jogger, it would keep me healthy. It's a good thing to be in, good health, keeping healthy. But if you look at the people jogging, they have such miserable faces. They're all kvetched. So externally, who needs it to jog? Internally, it's a very healthy thing. But externally, it's a very, trying and difficult thing to do. The same thing with the fast. Externally, it's very painful. But internally, it's very good. But it's better, much better than internally, than jogging. Internally, this is the idea of the redemption, the Geula. It's preparing us for a new level of revelation of the creator of the universe that hasn't been here up to now, and that's why we did the sins. I mean, listen, let's face it, why do we do sins? Because God creates us with a desire to do sins, and he creates the world in such a way that it activates these desires. And so what does God want? He puts us in this terrible low world, and the world is filled with, the option. How do you get out of this terrible world? You steal a little bit, you lie a little bit, you cheat a little bit, and do this, or you retreat into yourself, you get depressed, you get addicted to something like this. That's the world. And God put us in the world. Right? So externally, this world is terrible. It's awful. But if we serve God in this world and do this unusual thing, this is an unusual thing that's never been in the history of creation. We actually serve. So internally, the exile is really a good thing. I mean, if you ask me, it's been enough already. We've got enough, but I guess for what real reason, God says it's not enough. Al Pizeh, according to this, now we can explain what it says in the Gemara, that what it means that the seventh, and the fast of the fourth month, it says it will be, from the sentence, it will be for the Jewish people, the sasan of the simcha, for joy, joy and rejoicing. Karilu, it's called a fast, and it's called happiness and rejoicing. How can this be? Bisman sheyesh shalom, in a time when there is peace in the world, it will be for rejoicing and happiness. If there's no peace in the world, then it's a fast. That's what it says in the Gemara. Says the Rebbe, it's not understood. How can it be that in one day it's called a miserable fast day and it's called a happy rejoicing day? How can it possibly be? It says, but it's telling you like this, that the external of the fast is bad. Fasting, the temple was destroyed, we're in exile. But since the intention, the real true intention in the inside of the fast is transforming it to joy and rejoicing, Shabbat, that it comes after by the destruction and exile that's going to, when it's finished, they'll be rejoicing, then the fast day is going to be happy. Ella, but Samana Gullus, but meanwhile, is stressed the bad thing, the external, in Shalom Tzom. In other words, that's the whole reason why we sinned is because we only see the outside. God did not reveal the inside. What does he want from us? That we should reveal the inside. We should reveal the godliness and everything. When we do that, then it'll be much more difficult for us, if not impossible, to go against what God wants. It'll be like a person cutting off his own finger. Maybe one reason that people do cut off their fingers or they take drugs or whatever is because they don't appreciate their fingers. They don't appreciate life. The same thing, we do sins because we don't appreciate God. One reason we don't appreciate God is concealed, but he conceals himself purposely so that we should reveal him. And when we do reveal him, then there's going to be happiness and rejoicing. That's what it means when the time there is peace. Sasam v'simcha means when Moshiach comes. Something like this we can experience now when a fast falls out to be on Shabbat. Since that the day of Shabbat is a day of Ratzon, it's a day that is pleasing to God. Chemdat Yomim also Karasa. It is a rejoicing day, it's called. What is Shabbat? It says a non-Jew is not supposed to keep Shabbat. A non-Jew is not, it's tremendously displeasing to God if non-Jews keep Shabbat, even if they make a different day, they make their own day. Friday, Monday, Thursday, whatever it is. A non-Jew is not supposed to keep Shabbat. Why? Because Shabbat is a relation, shows the special relationship between God and the Jewish people, that the Jewish people can give God a certain type of pleasure. And that pleasure is only to the Jewish people. That's why God gave the Torah to the Jewish people. And when the Jewish people do what it says in the Torah, that gives God pleasure. A little bit of this pleasure is revealed on Shabbat. And Shabbat is God's day. Shabbat, God shines his pleasure into the world. That's what Shabbat is. And God's pleasure is caused by the Jewish people. That's the way God made it. That's when God took the Jews out of Egypt. That's the first of the 10 commandments. God gave the Jews the 10 commandments. God took the Jews out of Egypt. God gave Jews the land of Israel. God gave Jews the holy temple. But in order that the Jews should reveal this level of Shabbat, God's presence, God's existence, God's love in the world, and that is revealed every single Shabbat. Since the beginning of creation, 5,785 years ago, every Shabbat, this is revealed a little bit, especially after God gave the Torah. Therefore, on Shabbat, we're supposed to get pleasure. We're supposed to eat fish. It says big fish. We're supposed to drink meat and eat wine. Food that is, how do you say, fat, what is it, and pleasant to drink. Basar shaman, it says fat meat and wine that's old. I don't know if you like that. I don't personally like that tonight, but this is hinting at not just that it's forbidden to fast, but it's hinted at also the pleasure and joy that there can be in life. In life, when we feel the God's happiness. Therefore, we are supposed to be happy on the day of Shabbat by eating meat and drinking wine, etc. Maybe we can say that the day of a fast, which calls on Shabbat, you also have to eat on this more than in the other days. If on Shabbat you're supposed to enjoy the day, how much more so if it's a Shabbat when a fast day falls? Why? In order to negate a kol soika, even any sort of thought you might have that, hey, I mean, guys, it's a fast day. Let's not have too much pleasure on Shabbat, right? It says wrong. We have to have extra pleasure on Shabbat, more than regular, to show that there's no hint that it's a fast day, that it's a bad day. That's the whole idea of the good which is hidden inside of every fast day that will be transformed to a rejoicing day of rejoicing. Yeshlo, we can say that when we eat big fish and drink, good wine in the meal of Shabbat, that falls to be on a fast day. And we can also say that we have to add on this even more than all the other Shabbats. This is hinted at the meal that God is going to make for the tzaddikim. Where does it say such a thing like this? We'll see in a second. It says that all the Jewish people are tzaddikim. Amech kulon tzaddikim. Amech kulon tzaddikim. We say this in Pirkei Avot. This is a pasuk in Isaiah. All the Jewish people are tzaddikim. Shabo yochlu mibasar leviatan. This says there's going to be a meal, and we'll eat from the meat of some sort of a big fish, and we'll eat the meat. We'll eat the fish from the flesh from this big fish, and from some sort of a free ox, wild ox, whatever it is, and we'll drink wine which is preserved from the 6 days of creation. And that's going to be in the meal of the Moshiach is going to make, right? This is going to be a spiritual thing, but it'll also be physical. It'll also be physical because then the physical world will be higher than the spiritual. That's why there's going to be the raising of the dead. The bodies will leave heaven, come into the world. Then, in addition to the spiritual things which are hinted in it, it's talked about in Chassidut. What's this fish, this big fish of Leviathan and the big ox? What is it going to be? But there'll also be a physical meal. Like it's known that the complete, ultimate reward of the days of the Mashiach, Kishiyabatlu, when there won't be any more fast and they'll be transformed to days of rejoicing, it won't be up in heaven. She'ein bolo achila, where in heaven there's no eating and drinking, but it'll be olam atechia, the world of the raising of the dead. That's called the world to come. When we say the world to come, it'll be a physical pleasure that the soul will be nourished from the body. We'll see what a Jewish body is. Okay, what exactly this means is a little bit difficult because this is when the raising of the dead, there won't be any eating and drinking. But this type of eating and drinking will be this meal of the Mashiach. Maybe it'll precede the raising of the dead. However it's going to be, but it's supposed to be some sort of a physical meal that's going to be more pleasurable than the highest levels of heaven. And especially in the continuation, in the course of this meal of Shabbat, there is afterwards the Malava Malka. There is the meal that we eat after Shabbat. But since it is attached to the honor of Shabbat, that we're honoring the Shabbat when it goes out, it says, therefore, we have to be careful also, Motzi Shabbat of Yud Zayin Tammuz. Now, this Motzi Shabbat is going to be Yud Zayin Tammuz, but it'll be a fast day. We don't fast Motzi Shabbat. The Yud Zayin Tammuz starts off in the daytime, in the morning. In any case, maybe we can say even more that when Yud Zayin Tammuz falls on Shabbat, then the Malava Malka, the meal we make after Shabbat, should even be more. This is stressed even more, the connection between the days of the Mashiach, that all of the fasts will be transformed to rejoicing and happiness and holidays. That's what it's going to be. So it says, therefore, we can attach this Shabbat with the Torah portion, Parshat Balak. And this we're going to talk about tomorrow, how God transformed the curses of Bilam to blessings. Also will be transformed the curses of the destruction of the temple into blessings. And this is what we're going to talk about, God willing, tomorrow. Come tomorrow. Now, a Yom Yom and then a story.